All right, here C3 on assignment at Panthers Training Camp. I had some great experiences, and today we're going to talk winners and losers of Panthers 2023 Training Camp. CK, who's won training camp?
Um, it's the hopes of the Panthers offense. It's that uh, it's the entire fan base as a whole that we've seen strides from this offense. We've seen competency, and we see a lot of potential in the wide receiver group. Um, we don't have as many question marks on offense as we normally do going into each year. So I would say the winner of the Panthers training camp 2 days in so far are the hopes and dreams of Panthers faithful when it comes to the Panthers offense.
My winner of Panthers training camp is the fans right now, folks, because you've had a 5-year drought of not knowing who your quarterback is. Now we have a clear, decisive future in that position. But you've also lived in a world and grown up in a world like I have, of where the whole entity and soul of the team is the defense. And now, folks, you get a feeling right now is that you have a head coach who was a quarterback. He was a quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. In fact, he was the first quarterback of the Carolina Panthers to start the one to throw the first touchdown for the Carolina Panthers. And he's gone on to be an offensive. I mean, his DNA is mixed in with the offense. And so what I would like to just say, it's a different feeling to say that, hey, we're actually part and real. The heart and soul of our identity is going to focus on being effective and explosive on offense. It's a new feeling, and you can see it just in the way some of the players and the guys and the things that we're talking about. And it's real easy to develop and cultivate that identity when you have the first pick in the draft and you get your quarterback, and you're really building towards everything is built around Bryce Young at this point.
Yeah, the way that I would describe it is for the first time in a long time, and early expectations here, it feels as though our head coach is actually tailoring an offense around his talent and not just off of what he wants to do.
Who are the losers?
I think the losers starting out for me are going to be the entirety of the NFC South outside of the Panthers. Uh, there's a lot of reports coming out that these guys aren't looking great. You're not even hearing any positivity from what I've seen regarding the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You have Derek Carr first day throwing 3 interceptions during training camp, and Desmond Ritter, just the only highlights they decide to post of him are like little hitch routes to his tight end. They don't tell you who throws the balls. They don't tell you when there's an interception. They aren't showing who that interception is coming from. There's a lot of question marks around the entire NFC South, and I feel like more so than not, the Panthers are the most stable out of what I've seen so far.
I tell you, I saw that clip of Bijan Robinson or whatever his name is, the running back for the Falcons. Oh Lord, man! Whoever one loser is that guy that was playing against him in that route. Now, I like that loser. The loser of 2 days into Panthers training camp is everybody else. Mugs. That's right. We getting that good now, man. There is excitement. You just hope that that excitement isn't just the fact that you've been so thirsty and hungry for anything and any sign of optimism. But you know what? The real signs of optimism. Let's talk about the continuing losers. Let's turn this a little bit to the players right now. What are some of the names that you're starting to, I guess, hear that maybe lack of a positive connotation? You don't want to say loser, man. It's so hard core of a description, but really, Terrace Marshall Jr. has been on the tongues of all Panther fans and the media. And the fact is that he's kind of languished and had a difficulty under Matt Rule. He looks the part. He looks the part. You see, I mean, he has all this great skill set, and you're just hoping that he can turn it into something special. But really, his just name has not been that named that much. It's not that he's been bad. It's not been it's just like it's just you're not calling his name a lot.
You're not calling his name, but I push back a little bit on the disappointment because I think the biggest reason it feels like a disappointment is the surprise that he seems to be alternating first team reps with Shi Smith. Now, if anybody was going to be alternating first team reps with Shi Smith, you would think that it would be our new second round pick, Mingo. But Mingo has stayed in there and TMJ seems to have been rotating. TMJ has made some catches. He hasn't been a liability, and he hasn't dropped passes. It doesn't look like the miscommunications that have happened from the offense, from the quarterback's perspective, they don't seem to be coming from Terrace Marshall Jr., or they haven't even happened with him. So it's maybe one of those things early on in camp that not hearing his name is better than hearing it at this point in time.
I don't know how much I can really base this one on, but one, to me, the loser in the category right now is, and this feels like a personal vendetta at this point, is Chuba Hubbard for me. And not because he's done anything wrong. I haven't seen his name, heard his name, but I have heard another guy coming out of the backfield, and that's Laviska Shenault. So you want to talk about somebody who's winning, at least in the PR battle. At the same time, does that mean that he's getting more attention and focus? Or is this pretty standard? We know it's very seen very little, so I haven't seen anything poorly. But how do you what? We haven't said Miles Sanders' name really either. We haven't said, it's like so hard for the running backs to shine. But Laviska's name has been winning the conversation and the narrative of the backfields and how the Carolina Panthers want to use them.
It hasn't been necessarily that he's looked great, because it's impossible to be able to see that in the current state of things. It's been a surprise in the amount that he has been used and in the different ways that he has been used. The frequency of him being the person touching the ball has been pretty high. And I think that tells a lot about the confidence that this coaching staff has in a guy who was, by the way, traded for last year by the Panthers. This is a guy that we had value in. This is a guy that was a second-round pick himself. We're not talking about a guy who is, there's a lot of hope. When you look at what Mingo has, what TMJ has, you can't put Shenault out of the equation of being a potential breakout star for any offense. I think this is going to be a good year for him, just based on the amount of usage they've already got for him so far.
So we're talking about winners and losers. It looks like that Carolina Panther fans are the winners as the offense has continued to grow as bigger part of the identity. You know who else is a winner? C3 Panthers podcast, who's been just having a blast down here in Spartanburg. Yeah. Shout out to PJ at Monster Subs for having a great time with us. Losers, we found out, are the NFC South and the rest of the NFL. Man, the Panthers, there's an excitement that they could be for real. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. Smash that thumbs up button, subscribe. We'll be back with you with more content.
Keep pounding.